All right, so good morning, everybody. Here we are again. We're working on it's 4.17 today. So what we're going to do is we got a checklist here. This is assess tires and wheels for service, and then got to do. Oh, let's see. I think there's 8 of these. There's a front and a back to the page here. We're going to start with number 1, and we're going to inspect the tire for wear patterns and proper mounting. Okay, and so the tire basically is going to have some wear if it's an older tire, and you're going to check the surface area of the tire. You're going to look to see if there's any cupping, and or if there's a toe wear. If the toe's out, the outside of the tire will wear, or the inside of the tire will wear, depending on where the which direction the alignment's off. And so also camber and caster will affect somewhat of your tire wear. So we also have to look at the mounting. So there's a proper mounting. That's going to be where it mounts to the rim. So your tire is going to mount. You're going to make sure your bead's seated properly, and that also you're just going to double check. And we're going to check out the fasteners here, I think, on another one here. So what we're going to do, the next one, in number 2, is inspect tires for cuts, cracks, bulges, and sidewall damage. So you give it a good look over, see if the sidewall's been cut. Sometimes will come up against curbs and stuff and scratch it, or get a rock on there or something. If you have a sidewall damage, you cannot repair sidewall. So you can do a tire repair on this side. We've done that on a different video. But if there is any kind of damage to a sidewall, that is not repairable, no matter what anybody says. So that is a safety hazard. Sidewalls can blow out once they've been damaged, or if they got a hole in them or something. People try to put a plug in there. Doesn't work. They expand too much. There's no belts or not enough belts on the sidewalls to be able to repair them. And if you put a patch on it, it flexes too much when it comes down to the bottom of the tire when it's on the road. The tire will squish a little bit because of the weight, and it flexes that patch too much, and the patch will leak. So you cannot repair a sidewall. Next one is 3, inspect valve caps and stems, determine needed action. So we're missing a valve cap right there. We have a stem right here. One of the best ways to check the stem is just kind of move it from side to side and move it around. They crack down on the bottom inside of here. And what will happen is it won't leak until you move it. And if you move it and you hear a leak, or you can spray some soapy water on there, and it will also bubble up. And that's probably the best way. And you always want to have caps on there, because when you fill it up with air, if there's dirt in there because the cap was missing, the dirt will get pushed into the valve, and the valve won't seat properly after you've put air in it. So it'll leak out the valve core. All right, number 4, measure and record tread depth, probe for embedded debris. And so what we have is we have a tool, and I can't find it right now, so I've got some on order. And this will be for you guys. There's a tread depth gauge tool that we're going to use, and basically you put it inside the tread and you set it down, and you'll be able to read what the tread depth is on the tire. We're going to use that. But also, see these little rocks? I don't know if you can see those or not. But there's little tiny rocks right here that are inside the treads. And when we go to balance a vehicle or a tire, if those rocks are in there, then we balance it with the rocks, and then later on the rocks fly out, our balance is off. So we want to pick those rocks out if we can before we balance the tires. All right, number 5. Check and record air pressure. Adjust air pressure in accordance with manufacturer specifications. And so you're going to basically always go off the tire manufacturer specifications. Of course, there are specifications that are printed inside the door, which we learned about earlier this year. That sticker is in accordance to any tire pressure sensors that may be in the vehicle's tire. And so if we are below what the stamped pressure is that's inside the door jamb, then the tire light will be on because the sensor will sense below that pressure. But we cannot exceed the maximum pressure that's stamped on the tire. So sometimes people will change their tires and they don't put the right tire. So for an example, let's say the vehicle came with a 50 psi tire, like a 51 psi tire. That's what's supposed to be on the vehicle. Well, the sticker would probably say around 45 or 42 psi would be for the pressure sensors to be at. Well, if they put a 35 psi tire on here, and now my tire light's on because this is at 35 psi and it's supposed to be at 42 or 44, I air that up to 44 psi to get the tire light out. Now I've overpressurized a 35 psi tire. So you always have to go off the manufacturer tire. If that is incorrect from the sticker, then those tires should not be on the vehicle, or the sensor should be ignored or replaced. Replace the tire. So anyways, that's something you always have to kind of be mindful of. Be aware of that. Number 6, we're going to check wheel mountings hardware, determine needed action. So wheel hardware, this is the wheel, this is the rim. Okay, they call this the rim, that's the tire. When they're put together, it's called a wheel. And so we're going to check our hardware, basically our lug nuts. We're going to check to see if they're loose. The best thing to do is to re-torque them with a torque wrench. Make sure that they're tight. When you do rotations, you know, because you're going to put them back on. But if you're just doing an inspection like on a piece of equipment, these can come loose, and they're a lot bigger, and there's little different telltale signs. You'll see metal shavings or chafing or even cracking from where the lug nut cups go into the wheel, into the rim. And if there's little cracks in here, that rim has to be replaced. Any cracks anywhere. So you can actually have cracks in the rim and it won't leak air because it's not on the air sealing portion of the rim. It's on the mounting portion of the rim. So we want to do a real thorough inspection, especially on heavy equipment. Sometimes we just take them off and we check them and then we put them back on. All right, so also we're going to check tire matching diameter on a single and dual tire application. So I'm going to skip into the next video because I got to get set up for this next video here.